Asano's story begins with tragedy. One night, a car crash takes everything from him. His parents, his little brother, his home, and his sense of belonging. The boy who once smiled at small things now lives in a world of silence, surrounded by walls he built himself. Every day feels like a punishment. Every breath like a reminder of what he's lost. He stops talking to people, avoids friends, and sinks deeper into isolation. But one person refuses to give up on him. His childhood friend, Mutsumi. She stays by his side through the darkest days, quietly promising that no matter what happens, she'll never leave him. For Asano, she becomes the only light left in his life. At school, he's still the quiet boy everyone whispers about. While others laugh, play, and invite him to join their soccer games, he always declines. They tease him, trying to break through his cold shell, but all they get is silence. One afternoon, they call him over again, saying they'll show him something behind the girls' dorm. Nervous, Asano faints right there, typical of his anxious, withdrawn self. When he wakes up, Mutsumi is there, smiling softly with a lunchbox in her hands. She always brings him food, always looks out for him like a sister, maybe something more. But that day, their peaceful routine shatters. The vice principal, Hirukawa, interrupts them, snatching a bite from Asano's lunch like he owns it. Mutsumi scolds him furious, but he just laughs it off. When school ends, Hirukawa calls Asano to his office, saying they need to talk. Asano goes, not knowing that this moment will change his life forever. Inside, Hirukawa shows him photos, private pictures of Mutsumi, some from her childhood. Asano freezes, wondering how this man even has them. Then Hirukawa's tone changes. He admits he's been keeping Mutsumi under surveillance because she's special, and that he's the only one who can protect her. On his desk lies a video of another student beaten bloody, a boy who dared to confess to Mutsumi. Hirukawa smirks and says he only did it out of love for his little sister. Before Asano can react, Hirukawa pulls a knife and presses it to his throat, whispering that he's been lenient because Asano is her childhood friend. But he's getting too close. Before Asano can scream, the lights burst in a flash. The shadow moves faster than he can see. A girl appears from nowhere, grabs him, and escapes through the window. When he opens his eyes again, he's surrounded by strangers. Mutsumi, calm as ever, and 5 unfamiliar faces who look like they stepped out of an action movie. She introduces them one by one. Futaba, her strict older sister. Shinzo, her serious brother. Kango, mischievous and sneaky. Shion, the tech genius. And Nano, the massive, terrifyingly quiet brother who towers over everyone. Even their guard dog, Goliath, looks more like a beast than a pet. Mutsumi finally tells him the truth. Her entire family is made of spies. The Yozakura family, a clan that's worked in the shadows for generations. Asano thinks they're joking. He picks up a gun lying nearby, assuming it's fake, until it fires. The shock nearly makes him drop it. Mutsumi's siblings laugh, saying their family's even rated online 5 stars and counting, because of their missions. Their eldest brother Cairo is the most feared of all, a genius spy and the top protector of the clan. But he's also the most dangerous, especially when it comes to Mutsumi. He's obsessed with keeping her safe ever since a mission years ago nearly cost her life. Since then, he's never let anyone get close to her, except Asano. But now, he's changed his mind. Kiro's coming to kill him, an alarm blares. The air grows tense. They know Cairo has arrived. Everyone in the room gears up, preparing for a battle they know they might not win. Futaba says there's one way to protect Asano: marry Mutsumi. Their family has a sacred rule: never kill family. In their world, marriage is sealed not with vows, but with a shared drink. Asano stares at the glass, torn between fear and love. He's lost too many people before. Losing Mutsumi would break him completely. But before he can decide, the front door bursts open. Cairo walks in, calm, smiling, lethal. They attack him together. Futaba grabs his tie, spins him around, slams him into the sofa. But Cairo barely moves. One by one, he defeats them effortlessly. With a flick of his wrist, he binds Futaba in his steel wires, hanging her midair. Shion launches drones, filling the room with sparks, but he destroys them in seconds. Mutsumi tells Asano not to worry, saying no one can die. They're still family. But Asano's heart is pounding. He can't bear watching her fight. Kiro advances, slicing through everything in his path. He traps Mutsumi. only to realize too late that it's Kango disguised as her. The real Mutsumi stands between them, pleading with him to stop. Kairo's eyes soften for a moment, but his obsession wins. He says if he can't control her world, he'll eliminate everyone around her, starting with Asano. He tells her she can't leave the house anymore, that it's the only way to keep her safe. He even lets her stab him just to prove his love. Mutsumi freezes, torn between duty and desperation. That's when Asano steps forward. Despite the knife at his throat, despite every instinct telling him to run, he stands tall. He reminds Kairo that Mutsumi deserves freedom. Then with shaking hands, he catches the ring she throws toward him, cutting his palms open in the process. The cut bleeds, but he doesn't flinch. He slips the ring on. Everyone gasps. The ceremony is complete. The house recognizes Asano as one of them. For the first time, Kiro's cold expression cracks. That night, Asano lies awake, staring at the ceiling, married to a spy and hunted by his new brother-in-law. The next morning, Kairo stands beside his bed, eyed with a knife. Asano screams, but Kiro laughs, saying it's just how the family wakes each other. A spy should never sleep too deeply, he says. Then he drags Asano outside for training, and the screams echo through the mansion. When Mutsumi finds them, Kiro's forcing Asano into yoga poses that look more like torture. She yells at him and he stops, only to grab both of them and leap through a window. A bomb explodes behind them, shaking the house. Smoke fills the sky. Someone planted it, a warning. Kiro's expression turns serious. He explains that Mutsumi isn't just any girl. She's the 10th head of the Yozakura family, a lineage that dates back to the Edo period. Every member is born with some unique ability, but only one per generation, the head, carries the true genetic key. Mutsumi doesn't have powers herself, but her blood carries the code that sustains the family's superhuman abilities. That's why the underworld wants her, and why Kiro would kill anyone who endangers her. Asano listens, stunned, as they drive away in a bulletproof car. But their enemies catch up fast, firing rockets. Kiro barely reacts. Even when explosions light up the highway, he just sips his tea, annoyed at the bumps. Gulayat, their massive dog, drives like a pro, dodging every shot. Kiro finally steps out, blocking bullets with his wires and cutting enemy cars in half. When he returns, he tells Asano his new life has officially begun. If he's truly part of the family, he must learn to protect Mutsumi himself. That night, Kiro assigns him his first mission: guard Mutsumi for an entire day. Sounds simple, until Mutsumi mentions the bomber named Tamaya, who planted 3 explosives. One already destroyed their home. 2 are still missing, possibly hidden somewhere in their school. Asano swallows hard. His first mission might also be his last. The next morning, he follows Mutsumi to class, checking every corner, every desk, terrified he'll miss a bomb. When someone tosses a football at him, he nearly faints. His classmates laugh, unaware he's scanning them for weapons. On the school's online feed, Tamaya posts about the second bomb. Asano's heart stops. He spots a man through the window and chases him, but loses sight. A nurse approaches, asking if he's okay. He mumbles nonsense and flees. When he looks back, she's gone. Something about her smile felt wrong. At lunch, Mutsumi calmly eats while Asano keeps searching. When classmates offer him a chocolate to apologize for the earlier hit, he eats it out of panic and faints again. When he wakes up, Mutsumi's beside him, smiling. Then his eyes widen. A bomb is stuck to the ceiling. He shouts, grabs Mutsumi, and dives just as it explodes. Students think it was a lab accident, but Mutsumi knows better. The nurse appears again, but it's Kango in disguise covering the investigation. Shion monitors them remotely, coordinating the family's response. Asano realizes the bomber planned every step, using social media posts to manipulate him into staying near Mutsumi. So when the third bomb went off, she'd die with him. Realizing it's his fault, he sprints across the building. Kiro appears out of nowhere, disarms the bomb in seconds, and saves them both. Tamaya is captured soon after, tied up and crying. Kiro wraps the man's own bomb around him and throws him outside like fireworks. The family laughs as sparks light the sky. That night, Mutsumi tells Kiro that Asano will live with them now. Kiro's face twitches in rage, but there's nothing he can do. They're husband and wife, after all. For Asano, it's the beginning of a life he never imagined. living among spies, dodging death traps, and trying not to faint every 5 minutes. But deep down he knows this strange, dangerous family might just be the first real home he's had since his parents died. Asano's new life in the Yozakura mansion begins like a nightmare and a dream combined. Every step, every breath, every second feels like a test. His first morning ends with him stepping on Gulayat's tail, getting chased through the hallway by a 200-kilo monster of a dog. Mutsumi rushes in, patching his wounds with her calm smile, saying the dog was only following orders from Cairo to protect him. Protecting him, Asano thinks? It felt more like being eaten alive. Still, he's determined to stay. He asks Futaba to train him so he can protect Mutsumi himself. Futaba doesn't hold back. She throws him around the training room like a rag doll, shouting that even the best agents take years to master these moves. When he insists he wants to learn faster, she tells him to survive 1 month inside the mansion. He doesn't understand what she means until the next morning, when his alarm clock explodes for ringing too long. He dodges the blast, runs into another trap, and nearly gets barbecued by flamethrowers built into the walls. The Yozakura mansion, he learns, is a death maze designed to train its residents. The only way to be recognized as family is to survive it. Day after day, he endures electrocution, poison, collapsing floors, and fake snipers. His breakfast is laced with mild toxins to build resistance. By lunch, he's crawling to the toilet, but even that's locked with a puzzle code that resets every minute. When he fails, the entire hallway fills with knockout gas. Mutsumi begs Futaba to ease up, but the elder sister says survival is the best protection he can give her. Even the smallest victory becomes a celebration, like the day he shoots a remote control from across the room just to turn on the TV. Late one night, when Mutsumi finds him exhausted and half asleep while practicing his aim, she tells him he's already done enough. But Asano remembers all the times she protected him when no one else would, and he can't bear to stay weak. He keeps training until his body gives up. When Futaba removes a layer of fake skin she'd secretly attached to monitor his health, she sees he's covered in bruises and scars. She yells at him for pushing too hard, slaps his shaved head, and calls him an idiot. But her eyes soften. She tells him surviving is also a kind of strength. From that day, the mansion's AI recognizes him as an official Yozakura family member. His real training begins. Shinzo teaches him how to handle guns properly, correcting his shaky stance. Shion sets up hacking simulations. Kengo tests his reflexes by disguising as random people around the house to ambush him. Uno the giant handles his physical conditioning and nearly breaks his ribs in the process. Slowly, Asano starts keeping up. He can dodge lasers, disarm traps, and even turn the TV on without shooting it. He's becoming a spy, whether he likes it or not. At school, his instincts kick in. When a soccer ball flies toward Mutsumi, he catches it midair and throws it back so fast it nearly knocks the coach out. Everyone stares, wondering since when the quiet boy turned superhuman. Mutsumi just smiles. She knows how far he's come, but she also knows the danger hasn't ended. Cairo keeps trying to separate them, even placing fake divorce papers among her documents. One afternoon, they visit Kango's messy research room, where he's supposed to file mission reports. He's too lazy, hiding under piles of clothes. When Mutsumi forces him to clean, a grenade rolls out of his laundry. Sano panics, trying to defuse it, while Kango starts dancing half-naked to relieve stress. It ends with Mutsumi chasing him through the mansion and Asano accidentally triggering the lockdown mode. Sirens wail. Steel shutters close. Lights flash red. Kango disguises himself as Mutsumi to escape, but gets caught when the real one appears. She handcuffs him, calling him a disgrace to the family. But deep down, they all laugh. It's chaos, but it's their chaos. While Kango is grounded, Shinzo goes on a solo mission. Over the radio, his voice trembles, saying he's out of ammo and surrounded. Asano can't stand hearing the fear and rushes to help, carrying Shinzo's favorite weapons. When he finds him, the so-called fearless brother is crying, crouched behind a crate. Asano distracts the enemies, using Shinzo's electric gun to short out their radios. The sound of thunder echoes through the warehouse as Shinzo regains his courage. Together, they take the enemies down. When a sniper wounds Asano's leg, Shinzo finally calls him little brother, promising to protect him from now on. Back home, The others treat Asano's wounds like trophies. Kiro pretends to be unimpressed, but it's clear he's secretly proud. For the first time, Asano feels like he truly belongs. Yet peace never lasts long in the Yozakura household. A week later, Asano is called in for questioning by a strange man, Officer Seiji. In a dimly lit room, Seiji shows him crime scene photos and says he knows Asano works for a secret organization. When Asano refuses to talk, Seiji forces a strange liquid toward his mouth. But Asano spits it out with a hidden balloon trick. Seiji attacks with a hammer. Asano ducks. The wall cracks open. Then Kiro's voice comes from nowhere, mocking Seiji's acting. Turns out Seiji's an ally who covers for the family's missions. The interrogation was another test, and Asano passed. Soon after, another bizarre incident shakes the school. A new transfer student joins, a beautiful but unhinged girl named Ayaka. She flirts with Asano, then throws a needle that barely misses his eye. Turns out she's an assassin known as the Manhunter, famous for killing every man she falls in love with. She saw Asano's video on the dark web and decided he'd be her next victim. To make things worse, Kiro approved it as training. Ayaka joins their class, sits next to Asano, and constantly tries to stab him, in class, at lunch. Even during group projects, one day she loses patience, infecting all their classmates with a mind control poison that forces them to attack Asano. He dodges desks and chairs flying across the room while yelling for help. Mutsumi bursts in and blocks Ayaka's final attack, taking a bullet meant for him. When another assassin arrives to kill Ayaka, Mutsumi shields her too. Ayaka, confused and crying, asks why. Mutsumi simply says she's happy someone else sees how great Asano is. From that day, Ayaka's twisted affection shifts. She falls for Mutsumi instead, promising to kill Asano one day just to have her all to herself. Between assassination attempts, the family gets a rare break. Cheyenne drags Asano into her gaming room for what seems like a casual video game, until he realizes the game is actually a live cyber operation controlling real-world drones. Every time he presses a button, explosions light up a distant skyline. Cheyenne casually says she gamifies real missions to make them more fun. Together, they save a train from hijackers by defeating a digital dragon, laughing like it's just another level. A few days later, the story takes another turn. Nano calls Asano for help from a secret lab. He's swallowed a biological weapon to neutralize it and needs extraction before guards notice. When Asano sneaks in, he runs into two elite government spies, Oga and Sui, agents of the intelligence unit Hanagiku. They decide to team up, but Oga's curiosity about Asano's bizarre luck turns the mission into a competition. Everything goes sideways when they realize Nano is considered a national threat. He attacks him, but Nano detoxifies the poison inside his own body, proving he's harmless. Still, the mission ruins Hanagiku's reputation because Asano accidentally lets them escape with the evidence. Cairo, furious, ties him up in the living room, waving a magazine that mocks the useless husband of the Yozakura clan. Mutsumi steps in, defending him, saying he's improving faster than anyone expected. But Asano feels he's holding everyone back. To redeem himself, he challenges Sui directly, asking for a rematch. What follows is a 10-day chase through alleys, rooftops, and city stations. Sui moving like a ghost, Asano stumbling after him but learning each time. By the 10th day, when Sui attacks, Asano predicts his move and counters perfectly. Sui smirks, admitting he's finally earned respect. A few days later, Rin, Hanagiku's leader, invites Mutsumi and Asano to her headquarters, a fortress hidden beneath a cafe. Rin is a tall woman with sharp eyes and a strange fondness for Mutsumi. Over dinner, she reveals she was once Cairo's classmate, and she hates him. She believes Mutsumi deserves someone who can protect her from Cairo's control. But Rin doesn't trust Asano yet. To prove himself, he's sent undercover to expose a politician named Yuri, a beloved public figure suspected of staging terrorist attacks to boost his popularity. Disguised as a female assistant, Asano infiltrates Yuri's campaign. He learns that Yuri and his spies communicate through subtle dance moves during rallies. When Asano finally intercepts their plan to bomb the prime minister, he sets up a counter-trap, switching the detonators so the explosion goes off harmlessly outside. Yuri discovers him and attacks, but Asano fights back using all his training, subduing him just before reinforcements arrive. On the ride back, Yuri whispers something that freezes Asano's heart. His family's death wasn't an accident. That night, Asano can't sleep. The words echo in his head. His parents' smiling faces, the crash, the years of pain, all of it floods back. He wonders if their deaths were part of something bigger, something connected to Mutsumi's family. When he returns home, Mutsumi greets him with his favorite meal, saying she cooked the entire hotel menu just in case he was hungry. He smiles, but inside his mind is somewhere far darker. The answers he's been searching for his entire life are finally within reach, but finding them might destroy everything he's just begun to love. The truth begins to unfold like a wound reopening. Asano starts digging into the past, tracing every clue Yuri left behind. Late nights blend into early mornings as he pores through old files, encrypted drives, and dusty police reports. Everything points toward one name whispered in the underworld, Tanopo, a shadow organization that once operated within the Yozakura clan itself. Mutsumi's parents tried to destroy it years ago, but the cost was unimaginable. They were assassinated in what was staged as an accident, and now Tanopo has returned. Asano realizes that his parents' deaths and Mutsumi's tragedy are threads in the same web. Their fates have been tied together long before they met. He doesn't tell Mutsumi right away. He can't. The pain in her eyes when she talks about her family is too real. But secrets can't stay buried forever. One night as they sit beneath the moonlight, she tells him something that makes his blood run cold. Her brother Cairo is dying. His powers are burning through his body faster than it can heal. He's been hiding it, taking missions alone to keep her safe. And the organization responsible for his condition is Tanopo. Soon after, the Yozakura mansion comes under full attack. Explosions shake the walls, smoke fills the hallways, and masked assassins flood the rooms. Asano grabs Mutsumi's hand and runs through the chaos, while Futaba and Shinzo defend the front line. Dano throws walls aside like paper, blocking incoming missiles with his bare hands. Shion hijacks enemy drones midair and turns them against their owners. Giro appears from the smoke, wires flashing, slicing enemies before they even scream. The family fights like a single organism, every move synchronized, every breath in unison. But even together, they're barely holding. At the center of the attack stands a woman named Kawashita, the new head of Tanopo. She wears a white coat and smiles like a teacher watching her favorite students. She calls out to Mutsumi, saying Tanopo was never destroyed. It simply evolved. She reveals that the organization has been experimenting on human DNA to replicate the Yozakura bloodline, creating artificial agents with impossible strength. And now they've succeeded. Dozens of superhuman soldiers step forward, each with glowing eyes and weapons that hum with unnatural power. Cairo tells everyone to fall back, but Kawashita mocks him. Still playing the overprotective brother? She says, before triggering a device that floods his body with nerve poison. His knees buckle, wires go slack. Sano catches him before he falls, shouting his name. Hiro looks at him, the same man he once tried to kill, and says one last thing. Protect her. No matter what happens, protect Mutsumi. Then he collapses. Rage explodes through Asano's chest. The shy, anxious boy who once fainted at loud sounds now moves with terrifying focus. He picks up Cairo's wire gauntlets, his mind blank, his heart burning. Bullets slice past him, but he dodges everyone. Mutsumi tries to stop him, but he steps forward into the storm. For the first time, he fights like a Yozakura. He traps enemies with wires, flips grenades back toward their senders, and turns Cairo's own techniques into something raw and instinctive. The air itself hums with tension. When Kawashita tries to retreat, Asano throws a dagger straight through her arm, pinning her to a wall. But before he can finish her, she smiles. You think this is over? Tanopo's roots are everywhere. Then she detonates the base, vanishing in the fire. The explosion wipes out everything for miles. Asano wakes up in a hospital weeks later. Mutsumi asleep at his bedside, her hand clutching his. Half his body is covered in scars, but he's alive. The family survived too, though the mansion was reduced to rubble. They rebuild, stronger, but the war isn't over. Months pass. Asano's training becomes more disciplined, more focused. Mutsumi stands by him always, her warmth steady like sunlight after rain. But the shadows keep moving. Tanopo begins targeting political leaders and tech industries, manipulating nations through chaos. Their experiments grow bolder, blending spycraft with biotechnology. The Yozakura family launches an all-out counteroffensive. Shion designs a new AI network that maps Tanopo's movements. Futaba recruits allies from rival clans. Nano builds a new weapon, a living fortress disguised as a cargo ship.